over. So within Dext-Precision, there's actually a workflow product. So it's not only just a data quality check, but an actual workflow product. And their workflow product is called Focus. And it's over here on the menu. So to get to it, you go to Focus. And within Focus, there's what Dext refers to as flows. And flows are actual workflows that you can create for your clients. And they can either be one-off flows or they can be repeating flows. And Dext, right out of the box, comes with flow templates that you can just immediately apply, or you can customize and edit to match your individual workflows for your firm. So the first thing I'm going to want to do, because I just went through this. So the first thing that I want to do on that cleanup client is I actually prefer to come into here, create a flow template for cleanup work that I can use over and over and over again for any client that comes in with a file that needs to be cleaned up. That's where I don't prefer to do the cleanup from the client dashboard like I just showed. I would prefer to come into here, come to my flow templates, and there's already going to be some that are pre-made right here. But in this case, I want to create a new flow template specifically to QBO year-end. Oh, I can not type when I'm sharing my screen. QBO year-end cleanup. There we go. I could write a description about it. And then what I can do is Dext has already a bunch of pre-made checks that are in here that say, okay, these are the items that you may want to check within your workflow. And so you can start adding these. So I'm going to say, I want to look at the age payables. I want to look at the age receivable. I want to see the bank reconciliation, the unreconciled transactions. I want to look at the director's loans accounts. I want to look at duplicate transactions, duplicate contacts. And you start adding these and you start building your workflow. I want to look at the lock dates. Do that in my cleanup. I want to see regular suppliers. And so you can start adding this right here. And then you can drag and drop the order. So you drag and drop the order based on the workflow of how you go through a file. I really recommend, like when you come in here to create your flows, have a QBO file open, start the flow like you're going into QBO, you're going to do a cleanup job. And as you're going through that cleanup, naturally, how you normally do it, come in here and add these steps to your workflow. And then this way, it's going to create this repeatable process that you can do over and over and over again. So in this case, for this example, I'm just going to go ahead and save it. This cleanup. I'm going to save that. It wants a description. I'm just going to copy this. Save. And now I have what's called a flow template. Now I can apply that flow template to any client that I want to. It's already in there. It's built out now for me. So I'm going to, for this particular client, I'm going to go to Flow Creator, and I'm going to just pick up that flow that I created. So I have a choice. I can create a one-off flow. One-off flow is I'm just going to do this one time, or I could create a repeating flow and set a schedule for it, potentially to repeat every month, every quarter, every week, every year, if I wanted to. In this case, I want to do a one-off flow. I'm just going to do a file cleanup. So I'm going to name it. Let's just QBO file cleanup. And here's where I select my flow template. You can also build it from right here. I think it's better to go create your flow templates, have them ready before you come in and create your workflow. So in this case, I'm going to look for the template that I already created, QBO cleanup, and then I'm just going to go to next. And the reporting period, I can choose the reporting period that I want to do this from. So from this particular client, it's going to be from last year. And I can put a due date. So I could say, you know what, this cleanup is not, I'm super busy in the next few weeks. It's not a priority. My due date is not going to be till September. You can check right here. There's different metrics. I usually use default. These are, again, individualized to your workflow, which is great. That's what I love about this product, is everything is highly customizable. I'm going to go next. And then I can actually go ahead and apply this to multiple clients. So say I had 5 clients come in with cleanup. I could go ahead and add this workflow to those 5 clients. In this case, I'm going to select this particular client. I'm going to assign it to myself. One of the other features that I love about this workflow product is I can actually assign it to a team member, and then I can put a reviewer, up to 2 reviewers in here. So when the first person finishes with cleanup, the second reviewer or the third reviewer can get a notification that, hey, they've completed it. Now you can go review their work, make sure it's complete, and sign off on it before it's given back to the client. I'm just going to hit next. So then it just kind of creates an overview of the settings, just make sure that they're double check that the workflow is how you want it. And then I can either create it and it's going to save it and I can go start it later, or I can create it and I can start it. And the reason that I like to use this method versus just going into the client dashboard and looking at and starting to clean up things from here is now I have a clear map and a clear process of what I'm doing with this client and where I'm at. And so as I'm going through each one of these items, like I did earlier in that cleanup dashboard, I'm actually checking it off. I'm saying that there's issues, or I'm saying it wasn't applicable to this client as I'm going through this. So it's recalculating. Right now, it usually takes a couple moments, depending on how much data is in the file. It's not usually too terribly long at all. And so I'm going to kind of wait for that before I can kind of dive in here, and you'll see it's exactly like what we went through before in that cleanup screen, only it's right here in this process. So one of the, so now it's done, it's synced, and I'm going to start going through my flow. And so what happens is you can, as you're going through it, you can click on the data. And if it's an item like that Dext is pulling in, like unreconciled transactions, it's showing you that right here. And then you could say, okay, I've reviewed this, and you can check it off, complete, no issues. You can say this was not applicable to the client right here, or you can say that this is mark as complete, but there are some issues. And then if you're working with a team or potential reviewers who are going to review this later, you can actually type comments here about what you couldn't fix or what still needs to be addressed on this particular issue. So in this case, I can say, yeah, I reviewed that, and you're going through it. You're just going through it. You're reviewing this, and you're checking it off as you go. So let's see. So down here, so these ones right here that have the green check, they're saying there's no issues. So you can just go ahead and check it off. And then these ones, you might need to review. So we get to that, check it off. I want to go down to this one that has a kind of an issue. So this says there's regular suppliers. I can click on it, and it's saying that Bell has 1 period higher than with normal expenses. And so maybe you need to look at that. Did it get classified in the wrong period? Is there an issue going on there? Now, if I've looked at it and it's not an issue, so I've looked at Bell and I've said, hey, you know what? The client just didn't pay their Bell bill for 3 months, and then all of a sudden they paid it in May, and they're on cash basis or something like that. It's not an issue. I just click it and I say dismiss. I already reviewed that, and you can do that for each one of these. And then at the end, you can add closing comments, and until everything is marked off, this cannot be marked as complete, which I love. So nobody can go through this and say that they forgot a step or they didn't check off a step. They have to check off each one of these steps to complete it, which is, again, if you're working with a team, is great because there's just a lot of transparency there that they've actually reviewed the data. And so I've reviewed it, and then I can mark it as complete. Okay, so that's how you create a one-off flow. Now, what I want to go to is creating your custom checks. So there may be checks that you have in your workflow that are outside of the items that Dext automatically brings in or data that they bring in. So what you can do is you can do a new custom check. And so I'm going to say run P&L detail report in QuickBooks. And I want to show you this because this is really cool. I love this feature right here. Run P&L detail report in QuickBooks. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to, well, copy that, put it in my description. And what I can actually do now is I can add a link. Okay, so what I love is that you can create this link right here. And you can, so if you have your reports saved as bookmarks from QuickBooks, so this is a link to the profit and loss detail within QuickBooks, I can add it right here directly in this workflow check. So I just copied that link right here, hit enter, and now this is an actual live link inside of my workflow. And then there's tags that you can add to kind of organize these custom checks. Bookkeeping is saved. So now this custom check is available within the to add to a flow template right there. And then I can click on it. I can click on the link in the custom check and it will go to where I want it to go to. So that's the custom checks. And then the next thing that Flow Creator, I want to go to creating a repeating flow, which is very helpful. What we've done now is all of our clients who are on weekly bookkeeping or monthly bookkeeping, quarterly bookkeeping, they have a repeating flow in here for that. And that repeating flow happens every single month. And we'll go into the reporting here shortly and how you access those. But here you're going to create a repeating flow. I'm going to create one for monthly bookkeeping, and I'm going to say monthly bookkeeping review. Next. And I'm going to schedule it. And then I can say when is this due with days, months, weeks, and then what's the reporting period that I want to review. So the great thing when you're setting this repeating flow up is the reporting period. So every time I come in here and this flow is ran, it's only pulling in data from QuickBooks for me to review for the period that I set. So for the last complete month, when I go to do this flow, I'm only reviewing the data from that last month in the QuickBooks account. And I'm going to repeat this every month. And then I'm going to add a client to this flow. And I'm going to assign it to my team member. My team member is going to go through the monthly review. I'll get a notice once they've gone through it. And then you publish it. And if you need to come over and edit your repeating flows, they're over here on this side. There's a list of them. And you can add clients to your repeating flows. So right here, it's assigned to these clients. I can add them. I can right here edit, and I can add them to these repeating flows. Okay, so my repeating flows are created, and you'll just have a list of all these repeating flows right here. These are just the ones they just kind of live right here. And this is where you come if you need to make changes to your repeating flows. Once the repeating flows are made or any flow is made, it's going to show up over here on a flow list. And this flow list I find kind of chaotic. I don't really love it. I don't know which flows particularly are assigned to me. I mean, obviously I can figure it out, but I need a more structure in how I review this data right here. And so Dext makes that really, really easy with custom reporting that I can do on the flows that need to be done or in progress or had not been started. Okay, so then you have the flow list, and then what you have is called the focus dashboard. And the focus dashboard is kind of all of this flow list, but in a way that you can report on it and you can organize it. And so there's a focus dashboard, and within the focus dashboard, it's going to kind of have a default dashboard right here. But say that there's data that I don't want to view. It's a lot, right here, it's a lot. I can come over to my columns and I can decide which data I want to report on. And so then I can customize this as like a custom report, and I can even create a filter. So I can say the status is everything that is in progress or not started. And then what I can do is I can save this. So I'll say this is custom focus dashboard. Save. And I can share that. I can share that report as well. So once I'm on this focus dashboard, I can create this custom report. I can save it. And then it comes down in here into my custom reports. And each custom report is by type. And so I created a custom focus report. I'm going to come over here to my custom focus dashboard. And now I have a dashboard that shows me all of the items that have not been started yet. And I can further, if I want to organize this further, I can actually organize this by custom columns. Let me add assign to. So what I can do is I can drag and drop this to a row, and I can see all of the flows that are assigned to my team members. And then I can drill down and see what the status is on their workflows. So it's a complete workflow management product, as well as a file quality data check.